So, where did the idea for the Throughput Academy come from? Well, I've observed on numerous times throughout my career situations where an existing team who had learned about and were using TOC had a new member join the team, and they had no simple or efficient way to transfer the knowledge they had gained to the new team member. If they wanted to induct their new colleague in TOC, they had to pay for a consultant or a trainer to run a course, which often wasn't a very cost effective option, and many chose not to do this and just make do. The downside of this was that the knowledge over time became diluted and the old bad habits began to creep back into the system again. At this point, all of the hard work and progress that had been made was at risk, if not lost, entirely, which was a crying shame and for the want of just a little development. Now, at the same time, I have accumulated 20 years of experience of teaching people about TOC, helping them understand the concepts and challenge their assumptions about how things should be done and shift to a new way of doing things. I've developed lots of material to help me do this, analogies, examples, and games that illustrate certain points. I've also been through numerous implementations of different TOC solutions, which had shaped my understanding of the intricacies of implementing TOC in different environments. Hence came the idea for the Throughput Academy. Why not use modern technology to transfer my existing material and learning into an easy to use and access format, i.e., an online learning resource that people could use to develop their understanding and the understanding of their colleagues in TOC, keeping their knowledge current and developing new knowledge along the way. Why the Throughput Academy? Well, for those of you with knowledge of TOC will no doubt understand, but throughput and how we increase it is the essence of the theory of constraints, so it seemed highly appropriate. And these are the objectives of the Throughput Academy. It is for people who want to learn about or teach their colleagues about the theory of constraints, and most importantly, get results from using TOC. The reason I like TOC is not because of TOC itself, it is because it gets bigger results faster than any other improvement methodology that I know of. There isn't much reason to learn about it otherwise. Improvement and achieving more of our goal is what we're here to do. The Throughput Academy is open to anyone who wants to join. Some of the content is free to access and some is paid. The pay to access content, I believe, has considerable value if used correctly and therefore more than justifies the minimal cost. Also, as you can probably imagine, putting together a course like this requires considerable effort. Presentations need to be developed, scripts written, videos recorded and edited, services like online hosting and software licenses must be paid for, and there is a general management overhead that goes with running this as a service, hence the fees associated with the pay-to-access content. I hope, though, that you get incredible value from what you learn. The Academy is still in its infancy, and I have begun by developing the on-time in half the time course because I could see an immediate need. I intend to cover a lot more areas on TOC, which you can see on this slide, and grow this resource over time. I'll keep everyone enrolled updated on developments as they occur, whether it's a new course or an improvement to an existing course, so watch this space. I've also created a discussion forum on LinkedIn for all members of the Throughput Academy. Everyone who's signed up is entitled to join, and the objectives of the group are quite simple. For you to be able to make contact with other members of the Throughput Academy, discuss aspects of TOC that are of interest to you, ask questions or for help from either myself or other group members. As you would expect from any professional group, it needs to be kept clean and relevant, and any unsuitable content will be deleted. My decision on that is final, I'm afraid, so keep it on point. The assignment at the end of this unit tells you how to go about joining the group, so just follow the instructions there. You're more than welcome to link up with me on social media too. The slide details some ways to do that. My personal preference is to keep LinkedIn for business, so by all means send me a request there. Feel free to follow my pages for Drayton Solutions, and I'm also on Twitter, so give me a follow there too. Okay, so a little bit about me and why I think I'm qualified to teach you about TOC. So my TOC journey started way back in 1994 when I was introduced to TOC by my father, who was an independent consultant specializing in TOC at the time. I was invited to attend the launch of Eddie Goldrat's new book, It's Not Luck, and my interest grew from there, and like almost everyone who got interested in TOC at the time, I had soon read the goal from cover to cover. The following year, I attended the Odyssey program, which in those days was held in New Haven in Connecticut, near the headquarters of the Abraham Y. Goldrat Institute. The program was for young adults who had an interest in learning more about TOC, and the 2-week program gave an introduction. It was also an opportunity to meet young people from a large number of different countries, and as you can imagine, it was a lot of fun. I also attended the Odyssey program the following year, and participants attending for their second year got to spend the second week of the program with Dr. Goldratt himself exploring a subject of his choosing. In my particular year, we spent a week using the TOC thinking processes to analyse the causes of the Second World War and developing a way, obviously theoretically, to prevent the war from occurring at all. It was fascinating and huge fun to spend time with Dr. Goldratt, who was as interesting, exacting, and demanding as he was funny. These experiences convinced me to pursue a career in TOC after I left university, and I went on to spend 5 months at the Goldratt Academy in New Haven in Connecticut, learning about TOC in all its various aspects before joining the Goldratt Institute in the UK to work for Oded Cohen, one of Dr. Goldratt's longtime friends and collaborators. I then went on to work at Ashridge Business School in the consulting group, which itself had a long connection to TOC via Alex Knight's friendship with Dr. Goldratt. Subsequently, I spent 10 years working with Alex and others at QFI to develop the TOC approaches to improving flow in healthcare environments. During that time, I was also a viable vision project leader for Goldratt Consulting, leading 2 projects, one in the UK and one in China. I was lucky enough to spend time regularly with Dr. Goldratt by that time, and my personal development in TOC accelerated dramatically during that period. And since 2015, I have been an independent consultant involved in a number of different projects, including consulting on my own account, a manufacturing startup called Jack Audio, which makes commercial sound reinforcement products or speakers and amplifiers to you and I, and recently I've been developing the Throughput Academy. This slide is just intended to give you a flavour of the different kinds of organisations I've worked for during my career. Some are little, some are lot, but just a flavour, and the list is not exhaustive either. They cover manufacturing, project management, supply chain, financial services. I've also worked in legal and government organisations, and also a lot in health. As I said, not an exhaustive list, but just a flavour of where I've worked. A common thread to almost all of the work was me using the theory of constraints in some way or other to help my client achieve what they wanted to do. And this gives you an idea of the kind of work I've done and continue to do with my clients today. Every aspect of TOC at some point or another, and sometimes repeatedly, and some other areas too. During that time, I've taught literally thousands of people about TOC in one area or another, and I've developed a lot of tips and tricks to helping people understand the essential concepts. And I hope I can bring that experience to bear in helping you to understand TOC and a better way of doing things too.